There we go. Oh, good afternoon. She is Me Conference. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, this afternoon, we have Jackie Roby from Inspired Journey Consulting. Jackie, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Lisa. You know, back in the day, I used to bring the party. I loved going out, meeting new people. I would tell my bad first date stories. It was just great being at the center of fun. And I made plans all the time. Every night after work, I would meet somebody for drinks. Every weekend, I had each minute of the day set to do some socializing. Late into the night, sometimes into the early morning. I thought I was a social butterfly. That's what my parents always told me. Little did I know that I was running constantly away from my feelings, trying to hide behind the party. Isn't it amazing how much of ourselves we can hide? I was known for my stilettos and my smile. Probably still am. I would sashay into a room with confidence. Always had a kind word for everyone. Brought positive energy to the space. Nobody knew all the pain that was going on inside. All the shame and self-loathing that was tearing me apart. But of course they didn't. I was an expert, and still am, at hiding behind this smile. It wasn't until Christmas Eve, 2007, that things changed. I was laying in bed in the dark, alone, tipsy, wondering if anyone would care if my heart stopped. That was the moment the depression started. Honestly, it could have been much earlier. I spent so much time running from my feelings. Who knows how long depression was even lingering? But it was that night I knew that if I wanted to live, I needed to seek therapy. Growing up, my sisters and I lived in a home where we had to be happy. We could not be angry or even nonchalant. It was happy. Smile. All the time. And we could cry. Sure, tears are healthy, but only at home. Otherwise, we'd be embarrassing the family. Nobody knew back then that this was toxic positivity. Certainly not in my Latinx home. But that's where the story begins. It's how it started, where I became an expert at smiling and making other people comfortable. It didn't matter that I was assigned peacemaker, making sure that my older sisters didn't fight the way they always did. It didn't matter that I was finding more and more ways to hate myself. And the turmoil going on inside for the molesting that happened, well, that also didn't make the list of reasons to be angry. I was happy Jackie. That was my role. I became so good at smiling and being a happy being that I made a career out of it. Surprising myself, I ended up in the hospitality industry and sales. Now, a great thing about hospitality and travel is that you get to escape. That was something that I needed more than I realized. But think about hospitality for a second. It is an industry dedicated to taking care of others, putting the guest first, and with a smile on your face. Well, I was used to that. In sales, it takes many skills: tenacity, prospecting, negotiation. Another huge part is building and managing relationships. Well, my upbringing and the experience with my first abuser, that made me an expert people pleaser. So I knew that the business was more important than my needs. That saying no to a man in charge, a man above me, could mean losing a promotion or being humiliated in public. That wasn't going to be my story. I was responsible for taking care of myself. And my career is my road to independence. So I hustled. I took the inappropriate comments with a smile and a laugh. I endured the angry, abusive calls from men above me, kept my mouth shut when they said things on business trips, at work events, even the sexual calls made late at night to my hotel rooms. And when a client who had too many beers that night put his hand on my butt, I knew that saying anything to him or his company could risk the account. So if I wanted to walk away from all of the hard work I put into working that, lose business for the company, lose revenue, lose credibility, sure, say something. But if I didn't, I had to be quiet. Just smile, Jackie. Did you know that the National Survey for Drug Use and Health found that sales is the 11th top profession for depression and mental illness? It's an ironic twist of fate. There's a saying in sales that you're only as good as your last sale. It's pretty grim. I already knew I wasn't good enough. I had to work hard to gain love from my family, friends, show that I was even worthy. So it's no surprise, I guess, that I found myself into a career that just reinforced all the negative messaging in my head. I just had to push the emotions deep down. Just keep pushing them deeper so that I could move forward and do the show. It's what I call it now, the show. It's what I used to think was the real me. Entertain, smile, make everyone comfortable. Be happy, Jackie, no matter what. The night that I questioned the value of my own life, it happened 2 weeks after I had made a trip back to visit family. My grandfather, he took me to his office. He said he had something to show me. It was this picture of me set as his desktop background. I didn't even know he had that photo. Then he told me this story slowly. Maybe it was just felt like slow motion. I was 4 years old, fast asleep, and wearing these gray cotton panties. That's what he said, gray cotton panties. Then he uttered the words that just broke that smile I was hiding behind. He said, "It took everything in me not to take those off of you." That moment pushed me into a spiral of depression and forced me to start healing. I think about that little girl often, fast asleep, She was willing to trust. So innocent, craving love, and terrified, violated, made to keep secrets. She was told to smile while she was falling apart. Repressing trauma, abuse, and hurt works until it doesn't. All of those years of hiding behind my smile caused so much pain that came rushing to the surface. After that fateful night on Christmas Eve, I did seek therapy. But while I was hearing what my therapist was saying, I wasn't truly listening. So I fell deeper and deeper and deeper until I was in a constant state of panic. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. The fact that I even made it to work every day is a miracle. But I was covered in the shame of the sexual abuse. And I was still terrified. Nobody could know, especially my family. I'm Happy Jackie. I'm the peacemaker. This is disruptive. And if they find out, it could be all my fault. It was my darkest year. I was a functioning depressed person. So I went to work every day, put on the show, but sending even 5 emails was exhausting. I had analysis paralysis, so I was scared to make any decision at all. And the intensity of my paranoia was debilitating. I would walk down the street thinking that strangers felt a certain way about me, that they were stopping themselves from shouting horrible things at me because I was disgusting. I was convinced that my work was reading my emails and trying to find reasons to fire me. And at home, I didn't want to spend any money on food. That food money, that could go to rent. And I was between roommates, so money was tight. I survived each day on water and naked juice for lunch, 2 glasses of red wine and hard pretzels for dinner, a few of those, maybe 3. I was visibly shrinking. My clothes were falling off of me, and yet colleagues were not asking if I was okay. My party friends weren't either. The only thing that gave me purpose at home was walking my dog. And she would lie with me on the floor. There was moments when we came back in the house and I would crumble because I just didn't have the energy to make it to the couch. I still feel that terror and that panic when I think back. Finally, I had to face the demons that I spent my life running from. And I needed to ask for help, which I was not a fan of. I'm the one that helps people, not the other way around. I made a call that was one of the most difficult ones I had to make. I asked my mom to fly across the country to take care of me. I didn't know what I needed, but I knew that I couldn't do it alone. So she did, and she lived with me for a month while I put the pieces of myself back together. And no, I wasn't better in 30 days. But it gave me that time to function again and make things not as hard as they were before. This was humbling. I was 27, a career woman, independent, survivor. How could I be at this point where my mom has to live with me? Yeah, it was humbling, but it was the best decision that I made for myself. I learned that asking for help is actually a sign of strength. I knew I wanted to get better. I didn't want life to keep hurting the way it had been hurting me every minute of every day. Throughout my healing journey, I learned that I have depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Hindsight and consistent therapy shows me that I moved across the country on my own to a city where I didn't know a soul because I needed that chance to heal. And I've been a student of healing ever since, for the past 14 years. But what I didn't know for way too long is that the industry that I was escaping within could actually save me. How many times have we said, I just want to escape when we're thinking about a vacation? You know, I've seen countless ads for as long as I can remember selling holidays by showing people on a beach or at a pool with drinks that have little umbrellas. But what if we were to travel differently? What if travel could support our healing journeys? I've been in the travel industry for 20 years now. And throughout my career, I have spoken with thousands of people across the globe who are experts in this field. Yet it wasn't until a few years ago that I learned about wellness travel. Imagine that. How could nobody have clued me in on this amazing part of my industry? It was something I needed so desperately too. But of course, nobody would know that. Not with this smile. Reflecting on the year that I ignored my therapist's recommendations, I can see how I couldn't slow down. If I did that, I'd feel. That's one of the first things that you learn on a wellness trip. The beauty of slowing down and finding comfort in stillness. It can be so difficult for us. We find it impossible to even take that time. And if we do take that time, what if we feel something uncomfortable? It's another reason why a change of scenery is so important. Being in a new space can open our minds. Think about during the pandemic, during these times of lockdown, where a walk outside, it made all the difference. But what if that walk was only a part of our day? Imagine returning from that walk to a room that has just been freshly cleaned and has herb-infused water waiting for you. Then maybe you had to meet with a coach where you'll learn breathing techniques that will help to decrease stress and lower anxiety. Or sit at the relaxation room with a book while you wait for the therapist to come take you to your treatment. Experience a lymphatic drainage massage that helps to release impurities. Sit down to meals that are lovingly prepared with local sustainable products and fresh vegetables and herbs from the garden. Doesn't that sound like travel's version of a hug? Wellness travel is about replenishing the mind, body, and soul. Some people go for the boot camps or the detoxing. Some people go to learn healthy habits that they can bring home. Personally, I love the inner work. I've learned that the recipe of all three is what makes the magic happen. Mind, body, and soul. Wellness has become a buzzword, and hotel companies have realized that if they change some verbiage on their website, take spa or fitness and change it to wellness, boosts SEO and could increase revenue. This frustrates me. How are people supposed to find what can actually support them? Not everything you see online is authentic wellness. So now, this is something that I stand behind. It's become a passion and a life purpose. When searching for a true wellness experience, keep 3 things in mind: food, movement, and peace. I'm someone who lives to eat. So my meals better be delicious, flavorful. Honestly, the one thing that can set me off is a bad meal. So trust me when I say that nutritious food can be outstanding. This is not sad salads. Look at your menus. See what ingredients are being used. If they are local and sustainable, organic. Are there different dietary restrictions being met, like gluten-free or dairy-free? Take a look there first. Then look at mindful movement. Remember I said I'm not in it for the boot camps. My nightmare. Mindful movement can look like so many different things. It's about what's bringing you joy. It can be hiking, biking, yoga, swimming, aqua spinning. The list is endless. The fun part is really experiencing and figuring out what is going to make us the happiest. How can we move in a way that brings that joy? And finally, there's the peace of it all. How can we find peace during these travels? Maybe the hotel or resort is set up for sleep. They have blackout shades, a pillow menu, really just designed to give you that rest that you need. Perhaps there's meditation rooms or energy treatments. Finding peace, that can be different for everyone. So make sure that there are different options of how to create that space. After experiencing wellness travel, I didn't want to go back to how I traveled before. But it took a long road to even find this resource. It had a lot of ups and downs. It taught me that healing is a journey, and it is going on and on and on. It continues because life is ever changing. That's okay. I had to learn the hard way, though. People think you're depressed, then you're not depressed. We're good. It's a bad day, now it's a good one. Everything's fine. That's not how that works. This is a daily effort. Almost 9 years ago, I met the love of my life, my now husband. I was over the moon. But then one day he said, "Jackie, you're not happy. Coming to your home is like going to a funeral." I was devastated. I had spent years digging myself out of a depression way before I met him. And I was still in consistent therapy, caring for my mental health. I didn't get it, but I listened. And once again, I asked for help. A friend of mine recommended a list of books to read, starting with Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life, and moving on to the Esther and Jerry Hicks series. The wise Esther Hicks said, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." This could be one of those quotes we find scrolling through social media to inspire. And I love those. I'm into words of wisdom. But when we do the work of mindset shifting, those words take on new meaning and a much deeper one. Being mindful of our thoughts and words is incredibly important. I learned there's a difference between mental health and mental wellness. Mental health is an official diagnosis, and mental wellness is a state of being. So you can be working on your mental health and still be mentally unwell. You cannot be flourishing in your mental wellness without any of the mental health diagnoses. It just shows that paying attention and working on our mental wellness is something we should always be doing. A deeper level of traveling for wellness is healing travel. Now, if anyone is shocked to know this exists, you are not alone. To say it blew my mind is an understatement. Healing travel encompasses those elements of wellness travel, mind, body, and soul. But even deeper, it has the intent to heal, the willingness to go and do the work, and connecting with practitioners who can support you on this journey. In these spaces, I've found new techniques and been reminded of ones that I've learned. Healing travel teaches us about mindfulness, gratitude, and self-love. Rather than go on a vacation and then come home feeling like you need the vacation from your vacation, this type of travel makes you excited to return to your life with the tools that you've learned so you can implement them and keep going on this journey. Across the globe, we've all experienced trauma. And just like those walks outside that provide you a great change of space, traveling does the same. We can make the decision to ask for help in a way that's as easy as asking the concierge for a recommendation. Travel can heal. Let's not hide behind the cocktails, the surface level conversation. Learn from the pandemic and from Happy Jackie that slowing down can be really good for us. After experiencing immersive wellness resorts, working with healers, a new journey for me unfolded. My path had included 14 years of therapy, too much abuse, and an ocean of tears. I knew that I wanted to use my voice to help others to make their inner explorations a bit easier. That's how Inspired Journey Consulting was born. Through the years, wellness and healing travel have supported my healing journey. When I started my own business, I had a decision to make. Was I going to keep living behind this smile or live authentically? The choice was simple. I share my story so that I can help others know that they're not alone, and to show that traveling can support us in a much deeper way than ever imagined. Rather than waste my energy on the show, I have genuine, real conversations with a smile that means something. I'm here today because it's my mission to create a kinder, more inclusive world by showing how travel can heal. Wellness and healing travel are waiting for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Happy Jackie.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you joined us today. Thank you so much. We are going to be joined with Kay Hamilton from Tasmania next at the top of the hour. So please tune back in at 3 p.m. Pacific. Jackie, thank you again.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure.